Bookworms, it's Jade from Bedtime Bookworm, and welcome back to my channel. Today we are here to do a tag. The tag that I'm doing today is the mid-year book freakout tag. This was originally created by Chammy at Read Like Wildflower and Ellie at Earl Grey Books. I think the original tag was made like back in 2014, 2015, and I looked up those questions and they're slightly different. There's like 2 or 3 questions that are different than the version that I've been seeing go around this year in 2017. So I just went ahead and went with the questions in the 2017 version of the tag that I've been seeing lately. So I haven't read a lot of books this year. I was in a huge reading slump earlier this year and I was like really busy for a few months, so I didn't read very much. Very behind on my Goodreads challenge. I was trying to read 52 books and so far I have read 17 books this year. For this tag, I decided not to count rereads, so that took out 2 of my 17 books that I've read, leaving me with 15 books to pick from. And a couple of these books are going to be repeat answers because I just really like them and they fit the questions. So let's just get started. Question number 1, best book that you've read so far this year. That is really hard for me to say in just one answer, but if I was to pick just one book, I would pick The Last Magician by Lisa Maxwell. Maybe part of the reason why this wins a spot for the best one might just be because it is one of my more recent reads, but I did really enjoy it, so I went ahead and picked that as like my number 1 answer. But I have a couple runner-ups because there are other books that I read this year that I just really enjoyed and I can't help but mention them. Kind of my runner-ups to this question would be the 7 Realms series by Cinda Williams-Chima. I've read the first 2 books in that series so far and I love them so much. And then also Walk on Earth, a Stranger, which I read earlier this year by Ray Carson. That one really surprised me with how much I loved it, and I wanted to throw it out there as another one of my favorites from this year. Question number 2 is the best sequel that you've read so far this year. That would be the second book in the 7 Realms series, The Exiled Queen by Cinda Williams-Chima. Those are the only 2 books in that series I've read so far. I have the 3rd book out from the library right now, and I'm hoping to get to it soon. That sequel definitely did not disappoint me. Did not have second book syndrome. It was really good, and I really loved it. Question number 3 is a new release that you haven't read yet, but you really want to. Again, I couldn't pick just one book for this because there are 2 books that have come out this year that were super anticipated by me, and I am still completely shocked that I haven't read them. Again, I blame the busy few months of my life when I had a wedding and moved. But those 2 books are going to be A Conjuring of Light by Victoria Schwab. It's the last book in the Shades of Magic series, which I have loved. I am dying to read the last book. I have a copy of it. It's actually in storage, but I haven't read it yet this year, so it's definitely something that I really want to get to. And then another book that came out earlier this year, which was probably my most anticipated release of the year, is Strange the Dreamer by Laini Taylor. I also have a copy of that, which is also in storage somewhere, and I need to dig it out of storage and read it soon because I have been looking forward to that book for so long, and I love Laini Taylor, and I've heard such good things about it, and I really want to read it, but I haven't yet, and I don't know why. Question number 4 is the most anticipated new release of the second half of the year. This question is a little hard for me to answer because the 2 most anticipated books that I was looking forward to are already out. They're the ones that I just mentioned in the last question. Kind of looked through some lists, and I think out of the ones that are kind of on my radar, I'm probably most excited about Warcross by Marie Lu. I really like Marie Lu. I've read 2 of her books and really enjoyed them, and the storyline of Warcross sounds interesting to me, so I think that I'll like it. So out of all the books that are coming out for the rest of the year, I think that's the one that I'm most excited about. But at the same time, I'm not like dying to read it. I'm not going to pre-order it or anything like that. Question number 5 is your biggest disappointment so far this year. And that would have to be The Circle by Dave Eggers. I read The Circle just last month or the month before, like end of June into July. I was reading it for a workbook club. I was really excited about it because I love dystopians. I heard such good things, and they just made it into a movie. Well, I can't say just, but they recently made it into a movie with Emma Watson and Tom Hanks, who are like 2 of my favorite actors, which I haven't seen the movie yet either. So I was really excited about this book, and it just really fell flat for me. The storyline was interesting. The characters were all so two-dimensional. It was just really kind of boring, and I had to force my way through it, and I did not like the ending. I probably had hyped it up too much based on things that I'd heard and the fact that they made a movie with some really awesome actors, but I just found it really disappointing. It was not what I thought it was going to be. Question number 6 is the biggest surprise for you this year. And that is going to be a contemporary, because I never go into a contemporary thinking that I'm going to like it. I usually don't like contemporaries. But earlier this summer, I read an arc of I Believe in a Thing Called Love, which is by Marine Gu. And it's a contemporary that's kind of based around the idea of Korean drama stories. And I thought that sounded kind of silly, but I love K-dramas. I'm half Korean, so like I grew up in a household where my family members were always watching K-dramas. So I thought the idea was interesting, but also kind of silly, and I wasn't sure what I was gonna think, but I actually really enjoyed it. It was really fun. It's definitely not like life-changing, but it was really fun. I enjoyed the characters, I enjoyed the story, it made me laugh. I really liked it. Question number 7 is favorite new author, whether that's a debut or a new to you author. For this, I chose Cinda Williams-Chima. I know she has a huge following out there, but when I was younger, I just never picked up any of her books until this year. I picked up, the first 2 books in the Seven Realms series, which I've already talked about. They totally blew me away, and I really enjoyed those 2 books, so she's definitely one of my new favorite authors. I am going to throw a second author in here just because I can't just pick one, and that's going to be Lisa Maxwell, who wrote The Last Magician. That's a book that I finished recently, and I really, really loved. It kind of helped me get out of a reading slump. I haven't read any of her other books. I don't think I'm going to go back and read her older stuff. They don't have the greatest reviews, and I don't want to ruin like my impression of her, but I'm going to look forward to reading more of her stuff in the future that she comes out with. Question number 8 is your newest fictional crush. I don't really get fictional crushes that often, I think. Maybe I do, and I just don't think I do. But definitely the standout so far this year is Alistair. He is a character from the Seven Realms trilogy, or Seven Realms series. The first book didn't really have a whole lot of romance, but the second book, there was a love triangle that developed, and he is part of that love triangle, and I love Alistair. He's just so smart, and his family is really important to him, but at the same time, he's kind of a little bit of a bad boy. I love him, and I can't wait to see what happens in the rest of the series. Question number 9 is your newest favorite character. I had such a hard time with this question, and once again, I can't just pick one. If I was to pick just one, I think it's going to be Raisa from the Seven Realms series. She's the main character. She's a princess. She's really badass, really smart. But there were 2 other female characters from books that I've already mentioned that also I really, really loved and want to mention here. That's going to be Lee from Walk on Earth as Strangers. She's the main character. She's also smart and badass. I love her. And then also Esta from The Last Magician. She's also badass and smart. I guess I really like badass, smart female characters. Those 3 are definitely my favorite characters from everything that I've read this year. Question number 10. Book that made me cry. I have the perfect answer for this. I do cry easily, and I've cried in multiple books this year. But this book made me cry the most, and that's going to be Between Shades of Grey by Ruta Sepetys. This is a World War II historical fiction book, but it has more to do with like Stalin and Siberia, which is something that I hadn't read about before. I really love this book. I listened to this actually on audio, and I was listening to it when I was on a work trip. I just remember being on the plane on the way back from my work trip, and I was bawling, like so many tears, and I had no shame. I was on a plane in a public place, and just my face was covered in tears while I was listening to this book. It was really, really good. If you like historical fiction, if you like World War II, which is a weird thing to say, but you know what I mean. You should definitely check out Between Shades of Grey by Ruta Sepetys. She also has another book, at least one more book out that's about the same time period, but set on a boat or something. I can't remember what it's called, but I definitely want to read that because I really enjoyed Between Shades of Grey. Question number 11 is a book that made you happy, and for this I'm going to go with I Believe in a Thing Called Love by Marine Gu. It's just a really warm and fuzzy book. There's not really too much sad stuff in it. By the end of it, it left me feeling warm and fuzzy, and it made me happy. Question number 12 is the most beautiful book that you've bought this year. And I have the perfect answer for this. I, for one, don't buy a lot of books, but 2, I did buy a very beautiful book this year. I actually pre-ordered it, which is like unheard of for me, but that's going to be Strange the Dreamer by Laini Taylor. I actually ordered the UK cover because I think the UK cover is way prettier than the US cover, and it came with blue stained pages, and it's gorgeous. I love it, and I can't believe I haven't read it yet, but that is definitely hands down the most beautiful book that I've bought this year, because I only bought like 3 books. But even if that wasn't the case, it would still be the most beautiful book that I bought this year. Question number 13. What books do you need to read by the end of the year? I'm so behind on all of my reading goals, but if I had to pick just one or, you know, maybe 2 or 3 books for this question, I would have to say A Conjuring of Light, very high priority for me. Strange the Dreamer, another really high priority for me, which that's probably not surprising based on how many times I've used those books in this tag already. But another book that I haven't mentioned yet that I really need to read and I just am completely mind blown that I haven't read it yet because I do own a copy of this would be Crooked Kingdom by Leigh Bardugo. I need to know what happened to these characters because I am very invested in this story and I can't believe that I haven't finished this series yet. Duology. Okay, and now we're at the last question. The last question is your favorite member of the book community. This is way too hard to just list one person. I managed to limit it to 5 people. These are some of my favorite channels, especially recently, but some of them have been my favorites for a lot longer. I'm going to spotlight Books and Lala. If you haven't seen any of her videos yet, you're definitely missing out. I think I really like that she is on the older side when it comes to booktube. She's more close to my age, which I really enjoy. Watching people who are more my age do booktube. She has an adorable kid. She has really varied reading taste. She actually doesn't read a lot of sci-fi and fantasy, so her reading tastes are different from mine, but I always find really good recommendations from her channel. I love her bookmark series where she kind of talks about book news and book to movie adaptations and things like that. I also have always enjoyed Sam from Thoughts on Tomes. She is really good at articulating what she likes in a book. She's not easily swayed by what is really popular. She has, you know, her own opinions and isn't scared to say what they are. Always love all of her videos. I also really like Adriana from Perpetual Pages. She reads a lot of sci-fi fantasy and I often agree with her book taste. I like hearing her thoughts. She's also really good at articulating what exactly about a book that she liked or didn't like. And then I also want to mention Francina Simone. She has really great discussion videos. She's very thoughtful. Her discussion videos always make me think about what she's talking about. She has really good points, but she's also hilarious. She always makes me laugh. And I love how down to earth she is. She also does really great book reviews. She tries to do objective book reviews. And she's also an author. Even though I haven't read her books yet, I definitely want to because I've really enjoyed her book reviews and the type of feedback that she gives in her book reviews I tend to agree with. So I'm really excited to read her books one day. And then the very last booktuber I'm going to mention is a booktuber who is fairly new to me just within the last few months. Apparently she's not new to YouTube. She has a beauty channel, but recently started booktube I think at the end of last year. And that's going to be Books with Emily Fox. She is Canadian. English is not her first language, which I always think is really awesome when people create videos and content in a language that's not their first language. Like, I don't think I could ever do that. A lot of times she doesn't like the things that are really popular. She has similar book tastes to me. I feel like I often agree with the things that she says. Not always, but a lot of times. And yeah, I just really like her content. I think she's really refreshing. She's also read a lot of books this year, which actually I'm sure all of these people have read a lot of books, especially compared to me, my measly 17 so far. There's definitely a lot more people that I would like to talk about for my favorite book community members. There's so many booktube channels that I follow that I really enjoy, but if I had to pick my top 5, those are going to be my top 5 as of today. Alright bookworms, that was the mid-year book freakout tag of 2017. If you have read any of the books that I enjoyed or have any comments about the things that I've said in this video, definitely leave them down below in the comment section. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up or subscribe to my channel if you want to see more content like this. That's all I have for now, so until next time bookworms, keep reading. Bye! Is a new release that you haven't read yet but want to. Probably my most anticipated read of the, which was probably the most anticipated, and I love Laini Taylor, and I read an arc of I Believe in a Thing Called Love. It's such hard to say. And they totally kind of blew me, They totally did. You should definitely check out Shades of Grey, or you should definitely...
Between Shades of Grey.
Alright bookworms, that's... Bye!